We go to New York in the United States now to join Professor Sherry Adeosun, who is an epidemiologist and a public health practitioner. Good evening, Dr. Adeosun. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
We're talking a little bit tonight about people living with disabilities. In your experience and your practice in the United States, especially since COVID became all the rage, have there been particular provisions made for them, or are they particularly susceptible in any way during this period?
Thank you for that question. I will agree with the previous presenter. The disabled person doesn't have anything that makes them more susceptible to COVID-19. It all depends on their age and maybe any other comorbidities they have. So being disabled as in whether they cannot see or they're deaf or they're dumb, or cannot hear in itself doesn't make them susceptible to COVID-19. So it depends on the other comorbidities that they may have, whether it's COVID-19 or any other diagnosis.
Indeed. However, in keeping to the guidelines that have been announced, whether you're talking about face masks or social distancing, regular washing of hands, and all of that, people in this particular category will have some challenge in complying with those rules, even if all other things remained equal.
Yeah, that is true. So if someone has a particular challenge, of course, to use a face mask and social distancing, especially if like you're blind, that is a challenge. But with the United States, there are structures in place because the people that are blind, they always have, depending on the situation, some have the support system as an assistant, so there are things that are set in place to make sure that this category of people, that their needs are met. And then face masks are being distributed all around the park in New York State, for instance. Face masks are being distributed, and they actually there are devices that for the blind that they can actually read what is going on, as in the new initiative, what we encourage them to do, hand washing. So those things are in place to support those people in that particular community.
Dr. Adeosun, please stay with us because when we come back after this short break, I want to ask you what the update is about the situation in New York, because not too long ago, New York appeared to have been the real big problem for the United States. So I want to know what the update is there. So please stay on with us. Thanks for staying tuned. Welcome back. We've still got Professor Sherry Adeosun. My apologies. I guess that got lost in the intro earlier. Professor Adeosun, thank you so much for your time. Professor Adeosun, of course, is joining us from New York in the United States. As I said before the break, New York was a very scary place not too long ago with pictures of mass graves and all of that circulating around the world. Has the situation improved somewhat? Because we are hearing that states are reopening, and just yesterday or day before yesterday, the New York Stock Exchange reopened.
Yes, things are getting a little better. There's a gleam of hope that we're having. Like you said, New York has been the epic center. There's been over till date in New York, we have over 10,000 people that have died in New York. So it's really has been really crazy. But the good thing is the number of deaths per day is going down because the healthcare professionals are really doing all they can do, and the people themselves are maintaining the most important thing: social distancing, wearing face covering. So it's really mandatory for anyone. If you have to go outside, you have to wear face covering. Of course, hand washing is also very encouraged. So yes, it is increasing, it is reducing. So that is something to be grateful for. But it's not still where we want it to be, because there's still people dying every day from COVID-19.
Finally, I must ask you this, and I hope you could give me an answer in about a minute.
Okay.
The issue of states reopening, as is always the case, there's a fine balance. Where do you fall on that balance? Is it a good thing, or should they have been more cautious?
I think I will lean more to be more cautious, in the sense that Once we reopen, then when the people that are like really infected, because the thing about COVID-19 is sometimes you might have it and you will show no symptoms. So those are the area that is really dicey. You have COVID-19 but you're not showing symptoms. Some people have it, they show excessive symptoms. So if those that have it with no symptoms are mingling with the community, that is where the challenge is. But I do understand the economic implication of not opening on time, and people that depend on daily living, daily livelihood, I understand that. Somehow we have to find a balance between keeping our people safe and healthy and also making them able to fend for themselves economically.
Professor Sherry Adeosu, thank you so much for your time. Professor Adeosu joined us this evening from New York in the United States. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you with us.
You're welcome.